What happened was it was Tuesday morning. I was going to Budapest, and I took the like $50 or $70 cheaper flight that was connecting through Brussels. I was supposed to go gate to gate, literally be there for 50 minutes. But what's funny was I actually was taking the train to the airport to catch my flight. Probably left around 4:30. When I'm 2 stops away, I realized I forgot my passport. So I freak out, and I have to take the train back, run to my place, grab my passport, call an Uber, get to the airport with literally 20 minutes to close to boarding. And so sprint to security. I like get through security. I'm literally that guy running through the terminal, laces untied, carrying my bag like this. I show up dripping in sweat. I still remember the guy behind me being like, oh, you ran here. And I was like, yeah. So my mindset was jumping on that plane was, you know what, the hardest part's over. I'm going to be in spring break. Before I know it, I'll be in Budapest having a good time. So I slept on the flight. It's a really quick flight from Copenhagen to Brussels. And then, we land, and we're kind of on the plane for a while. Don't really know what's going, we're thinking about getting the PA being like, you're good to go. But instead, this voice comes over the intercom and just goes, something has happened at Brussels airport. We're not sure what is going on right now. They drive us somewhere. We get on a bus. The bus takes us to the outdoor warehouse where all the planes are stored. And then that's when they make the announcement to tell everybody that a terrorist attack has happened. I was within the 5 to 10 minutes of either being too close to landed or had just landed, because everybody else who's still in the air got redirected to Amsterdam. So if the flight was 10 minutes later, I would have never been even in Brussels. So I think I had just landed or was still on the runway when the bombs went off. When we were detained, it's outside warehouse, so I was wrapped up in a blanket the whole time, and I was actually in that warehouse for I think 13 hours by myself, no Wi-Fi, no data.
So 13 hours went by, and then what happened?
So they made the announcement that we were going to go to a military base, but that actually filled up. So then Red Cross set up 4 or 5 stations where they thought 500 people were going to be. Turns out over 1,500 people were going to be at every spot. And that's where people are going to stay for the night. And I showed you that photo. It was literally kind of imagine Hurricane Katrina, how everybody was in the Superdome, but 3 times as big in just this one place. So there's 2 rooms, basically 1,000 people sleeping on cots, and that's where I was actually going to sleep. But my cousin, who just lives in Colorado, knew what was going on, and he saw on the news that local Brussels people were taking in stranded people using the hashtag open house on Twitter.
Really?
So he looks up open house, DMs this guy. This guy agrees to pick me up from 25 minutes away. So I actually slept on his pull-out couch first time, ate at his house again. First time showering all day. That's when I finally FaceTimed my parents, instead of just calling, because I actually felt safe and more secluded. But when I get to Roberts, that's when I FaceTime my parents, we make a plan. There's either take a 13-hour bus ride to Prague, because Budapest out of the picture. I was only supposed to be there for 36 hours, and I basically spent my whole day in Brussels, outside, wrapped up in a blanket. So that Budapest was out of the question. So the next place I was going was Prague. So basically, I could take a 13-hour bus ride there, or book a flight out of a small airport. And so they were just at that time, just you know what, just take the flight out of the other airport. So the flight wasn't until 7 p.m. the next day. So Robert actually wakes me up. It turns out he works for the EU, and from his office, he could see where one of the bombs went off. But so Robert makes me breakfast. Then he actually gives me a mini tour of Brussels, while driving through it, and then parks his car, and then walks me to the shuttle that will take me to the other airport. No, it definitely restored my faith in humanity. I mean, he was getting calls from every news outlet to tell people about why he was bringing in bringing in stranded people like myself, but he wasn't really doing it just for the fame, for that anything. He was doing it just to be nice. I'm not gonna let those people decide where I go and how I live my life. That's letting them win. And Robert actually, so he had a 20-year-old daughter, and he could not stress that fact enough that you have to continue living your life the way it is. So on top of hitting the airport, the terrorists hit a train, a metro, and that was on Tuesday. But his daughter, who's 20 years old, 21 now, takes that same exact train, that same exact time, Monday, Wednesday. If the bomb was off within 24 hours difference, Monday or the Wednesday, she would have been on it. But what was shocking to me was I was like, oh, so how are you going to get to class now? And they were both like, well, once it's back up and running, I'll be taking the same train.
Would you ever tell a student not to go to Brussels after that, or not to go abroad?
No, I would absolutely tell them. Well, I mean, I'm not going to force Brussels on them, but like if they're like scared to go to Brussels, I'd just be like, it's, there's really good people there. You just cannot live in fear, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to change your habits. You just got to continue doing what you want to do.
And it's safe to go to Europe.
Yes. Yes.